3 rounds remain in this 2012 FF1M Championship, and the first of that trio comes to you from the Suzuka circuit in Japan, always a popular one. And this is an important race because it's the first opportunity for Lewis Hamilton to win the championship, because he holds a 19-point lead over Nico Rosberg and 26 points over his teammate Daniel Ricciardo. Basically, if Hamilton scores 6 points more than Rosberg, and if Ricciardo doesn't score 2 points more than Hamilton, then Hamilton is the champion. The last race saw Nico Rosberg throw away yet another win with a crash, and Fernando Alonso took full advantage of that to take his 3rd win of the season. Championship permutations also apply in the Constructors, with Tornado holding a 41-point lead over Sean Corey-Motors. If it remains like that at the end of this race, then Tornado are the champions. So Tornado's job looks a lot more simpler than Lewis Hamilton's, although Hamilton's does also look quite simple. Here is the circuit, the fast first sector, the flowing section of the S's, followed by the exceptionally difficult Degner curve underneath the bridge into the hairpin, and then the very interesting spoon curve, followed by the extremely fast 130R. Hard to see why drivers wouldn't like this circuit. They all love it. Who loved it the most during qualifying? Because Nico Rosberg has taken a whole bunch of pole positions, 9 to be exact, and he takes another one in this particular race, ahead of Fernando Alonso in the Willow images. The gap there was 0.2 of a second, just less than that, and Lucas Di Grassi takes 3rd on the grid, so he has the opportunity to back up Rosberg should the Brazilian get a good start. Good qualifying for Pedersen, they take 4th and 5th ahead of Lewis Hamilton, who always shows better speed in the race. Let's see if he can do it this time. Daniel Ricciardo's quest for the championship isn't exactly ideal as he qualifies 8th. An all FJR row 5 as they lead an onslaught of Honda-engined cars. Raikkonen, Grosjean, Bird, Vettel, Wickens and Perez is the order of that particular Honda battle. Must be said, a very good effort from Sam Bird, because he outqualified Sebastian Vettel, world champion Sebastian Vettel, by 0.4 of a second. So good effort from him. All GRM row 8, bit of an improvement over the course of the season, and Tom Dillman is not on the back row because that honour goes to Adrian Sutil and Nick Heidfeld. Once again, the Toyota engines not showing well, particularly in front of their home crowd on Honda's backyard. So here we go, 5 lights are on, big pause, and 5 lights are out. Poor start for Nico Rosberg. Alonso's got a cracker and he takes the lead already. Bottelberg strikes again, and Lucas Di Grassi is up to 2nd position almost, although Rosberg is trying to see to that through turn 2, and he has done. Back up to 2nd. I might take my word back on being a Bottelberg. Both Pedersens hold 4th and 5th ahead of Hamilton. And Ricciardo has got ahead of Maldonado, as has Kimi Raikkonen as they go through the S's. Look at the sweeps through here, it's all very, very fast. Quick word on strategy, 2 stops expected for all, and Rosberg having a look at Alonso going into the Degner curve, that's a particularly brave one, and Hamilton has got ahead of Kobayashi, so that's an important move for him. And now as they go into the hairpin, I've seen a few drivers make accidents over the years here. I remember Mika Hakkinen making one when he was driving for Dodgem, that was back in the 2000 season. That race was particularly chaotic. Meanwhile, as they go through the spoon curve, Hamilton is looking at Bruno Senna for 4th position. So if he wants this championship, he certainly wants it, because now he's trying to get up alongside him as they go on the back straight into the 130R. That looks like he's got ahead already. BMWs don't often show strong race pace. They're good in qualifying, but they tend to turn the engines down for the race, and that's already evident because not only has Hamilton got ahead of Senna, Ricciardo has got ahead of Kobayashi. Meanwhile, rounding up the back, there's Nico Hülkenberg in 18th position. One of the GRMs has had a terrible start, he's down to 19th. And is there a different shade of yellow on the Mitchell, I wonder? Well, let's see if we get another shot of them. We're just having a look at Sergio Perez overtaking Sam Bird for 12th position. And now as he goes through the S's, and off has gone Maldonado, and another driver off as well. Was that the... It's not the other... I think that's an AJ, it's Tom Dillman. No, it's Mark Webber, because he's spun it, going through turn number 3. And we're looking at Hamilton, who is... This was his overtake on Kobayashi around the outside of the Degner. That was a great move. Kobayashi blocked a little bit by Senna. And here's Maldonado. This is what happened to him. He gets ahead of Kobayashi, so that's a job done for 7th position. And then rounding turn 2, approaching turn 3, where does he make the mistake? And he ran wide at 3, and he's basically all at sea for 4. Does nudge the barrier, but not severely enough. And then just in the background, there goes Mark Webber. And here's Kubica having a spin at the Degner curve. A big spin, for that matter. And he's managed to get it out of the gravel there. We're looking at a shake and bake. That's Sebastian Vettel. Is he going to make the obligatory bad shake and bake race? No, it's the FJR in front of him that goes off. That was Kimi Raikkonen. And using his rally experience to full effect. Whilst Vettel gains a position, he's lost it now to Romain Grosjean going through the 130R. And Vettel having a go back at him, but not enough room to actually get through. So Grosjean is now up to 8th position. And so far the highest placed Honda-engined driver. Because the top 3 at the moment, it's Alonso from Rosberg, Di Grassi, and then this battle between... No, that's between Ricciardo and Senna, because Hamilton's in 4th, and Ricciardo has just taken 5th, so some good race pace for the Tornadoes at the moment. And Lucas Di Grassi, here he is in 3rd position. Off the track goes Di Grassi, and quickly back on it, but he has lost 3rd position to Hamilton. And here is the Mitchell. Yeah, it is a different shade. It's like an orange, slightly more orange version of their car. That was Nico Hulkenberg, who just made a quick mistake. And rounding the Dunlop curve. And off the track, who's that? That's a GRM that's gone off the track. I think that was Sebastian Buemi. And here's Romain Grosjean on board with him. Is he going to make a mistake at the Dunlop? Yes, he is. Just about. And he's off the track. That's going to hit the wall. I think he's alright. But he has lost a position to Vettel, not quite to Perez. And now here is the championship battle between Rosberg and Hamilton. Arguably, Lewis could just shunt Rosberg off to make life even more difficult for him in the next 2 races. Will Lewis do that? Who knows? Probably not. But the gap between these two is just 0.3 of a second. This is the battle we have actually been waiting for all season. And this is an important one. As they go through the S's, it's Rosberg ahead of Hamilton. And Hamilton seems the much faster driver at this moment. Loves this Suzuka circuit. Won last time out for Pedersen, last time the FF1M circus visited here. He's having a look at the inside of the Degner curve. That's going to be a brave one to make stick, but Rosberg gives him space and hangs on. Hamilton very feisty. No chance of an overtake going into the hairpin. But is there a chance to overtake going out of the hairpin and into the spoon curve? Names that because it looks like a spoon. Quite a deep spoon for that matter. Up the inside now into spoon. Rosberg once again hangs on. But there is a sense of inevitability about this. Now here's the next chance going into the 130R. Or rather on the back straight because slipstream counts. Hamilton has got alongside him now. I think this is it for Hamilton. Up the inside. Rosberg once again trying to hang on. But Hamilton has taken 2nd position. Very, very important move. Because it makes Rosberg's task of staying in the championship hunt that much difficult. And now Hamilton is going to set off after Alonso, who is gone off the circuit! Fernando Alonso has made yet another mistake, and that has given Hamilton the lead. What drama! As now Sebastian Vettel has a look at the Pedersens. This is for 6th position now. Well, Alonso has pretty much just gifted that one to Hamilton. Asked him, do you fancy leading this race? And Lewis just goes, yeah, why not? As we look at this battle now for 6th position between Senna and Vettel. Maldonado's recovered very well. He's now back up to 8th position. So some cheer for the Willows. Well, it's not really much of a consolation, to be honest. As we look at Nico Hulkenberg, it's a new sponsor that's on board the Mitchell Flymo. That's the lawnmower company. I wonder why. And at the moment, the new sponsor seems to be working because Hulkenberg is challenging the GRM in front of him. If we have a look at the helmet, once we get alongside, we'll be able to identify the driver. It's Jean-Eric Vergne in 14th position. And just behind those two, that's an Andrew F1. As they brake hard for the chicane, it's Vergne from Hulkenberg, as Hulkenberg bounces a little bit over the curb. Someone else has gone off, that's at the spoon curve. We'll find out who that is. It's a blown engine for Mark Webber, not surprising considering his lurid spin. Probably inserted a lot of debris into the side pods. So I wouldn't be surprised if the car overheated. Here is the recovering Fernando Alonso against Tom Dillman of all people. This is for position in the newly liveried AJ. That was easy. Certainly a lot easier than leading the race. Maldonado versus Vettel. This is for 7th position as they go across the line to start lap 11. And now Maldonado has got Bruno Senna on the horizon, although we are looking at Fernando Alonso on the back of Nick Heidfeld. This is for 18th position, and he takes it going into the Degner curve. And now here's the battle between Maldonado and Senna. From one red car versus an orange car to another red car versus an orange car. And that was on the slipstream. So Maldonado takes 6th position. Nico Rosberg coming through the 130R. In 2nd position, his engine has blown up! Nico Rosberg has lost his engine! And providing Hamilton doesn't retire from the race, that's his championship gone. So more drama, and things just get better and better for Lewis Hamilton. As Kimi Raikkonen in 8th position takes Sebastian Vettel for that 8th position. That was the battle for 8th, in fact. And now Adrian Sutil has gone a little bit wide at turn number 4, has a spin on the gravel, should rejoin from there. And once again, the recovering Fernando Alonso has just taken a position off of Robert Wickens. That's for 11th position. And there's another driver off at the... this is Lucas Di Grassi. Now what's going to happen to him? He's done a bit of curb hopping, running a little bit wide, just about holding on to 2nd position, but now Daniel Ricciardo is in the slipstream. He's got on the inside now into turn 1. Quick look at the top speeds, and 192 briefly on the speedometer. Di Grassi hanging on, there's contact between the two, and that, to me, on first impression, looked like a racing incident, because here's Ricciardo, and he's already ahead of him. Di Grassi tries to go back round the outside, but a little bit of understeer for Ricciardo. I think he locked up a bit. Turns in. Now he's trying to turn right out of it, but there is Di Grassi. Bit of a racing incident in my view. 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, I reckon. Let's see what the community thinks of that. And coming into the pits for his first pit stop is Lucas Di Grassi, and Raikkonen in as well. Long overhead shots, quite interesting, as the time hits 35 minutes past 4. So quite late in the race, quite late in the day to have a race. As Di Grassi emerges in 9th position behind the top 8, which goes Hamilton, Ricciardo, Kobayashi, Maldonado, Senna, Vettel, Grosjean and Perez. Although hold that thought, because Maldonado is on the move. This is for 3rd position. Again on the straights, that's Willow's Mercedes. Has got some good speed around the Suzuka circuit. Now into the pits comes Lewis Hamilton. Running it quite lean, only 1 lap of fuel left. Hulkenberg in the pits as well, he must be a lap down. And there's the lollipop. And 7 seconds is the stop for Lewis Hamilton. Not taking on as much fuel as Lucas Di Grassi, although Di Grassi was in very early. So should expect Hamilton back into the pits at around lap 41. And he's rejoined in second behind Daniel Ricciardo, who has yet to make his first stop. And we're having a look at Hamilton approaching the spoon curve as Senna comes into the pits, and off the track has gone Hamilton at the spoon curve. Trip for the gravel, and he's going to have a spin as well. He's going to rejoin pretty quickly, but will he rejoin behind Daniel Ricciardo as a result of that? 7.8 seconds is the stop for the Australian. Still in the lead at the moment. That is not Hamilton going round the final corner. So Hamilton's mistake has cost him the lead. Daniel Ricciardo leads the race. So Suzuka serves up more drama as he now has Romain Grosjean to deal with. And we have a look at Daniel Ricciardo as the gap is 3.1 seconds between himself and Lewis Hamilton. And Grosjean has just made a pit stop and has rejoined in 6th ahead of Bruno Senna. And behind Kobayashi, so Grosjean is in a Pedersen sandwich. Another look at the Tornado. We're having a look at Daniel Ricciardo now. So he leads the race on lap 25 by 2.7 seconds. Off the track has gone Daniel Ricciardo. Is he going to spin it or is he going to rejoin? He's rejoined. And where is Hamilton in relation to him? He's already gone past him, so Lewis Hamilton retakes the lead of the race. So whilst it's a Tornado 1-2, both drivers are a little bit sloppy. Now we're looking at Raikkonen versus Vettel. This is a battle for 8th position. So somewhere along the pit stops, Vettel got back ahead of Raikkonen. Now Kimi's in the slipstream. This is a battle for Honda honours, as well as the internal Yorkshire Derby. Sebastian Buemi in 15th position. We haven't seen much of him as he has a look at the Flymo sponsored Mitchell into 130R. Side by side, that's brave from the pair of them, and Sebastian Buemi has taken that position. Good move. And also good driving from the Mitchell as well to recognise the overtake. The recovering Fernando Alonso is going to power ahead of Raikkonen going into the spoon curve. That Mercedes engine is really good. And Romain Grosjean is out of the race, so that's a blown engine for the FJR. First retirement, actually, since Austria, and that wasn't a mechanical problem. So Grosjean's reliability record's been quite good. And now Alonso is on the move once again. That's on Sebastian Vettel for 7th position. So Alonso back into the points. Well, he's already back into the points, but he's even more back into the points. And hold that thought, because he's now going to be even more than that. Look at that power of that Mercedes engine into the 130R. That was a late one, but that's up to 5th position for the Spaniard. Serious pace in that Willows, in particular with that driver at the wheel. Sambird at the Degner. That's through Degner 1, and that's not through Degner 2 because that's straight into the tyres. Sambird out of the race. Disappointing for Horizon after their double points finish at Singapore. And that's Jean-Eric Verne getting past the Mitchell. That's for fairly down the order. And now here is the battle between the two Willows. Now it looks like the move's already happened. Are we going to see the replay of it? Because Alonso is said to be 37.9 seconds behind Hamilton. Maldonado 39.1 seconds behind Hamilton, but somehow the Venezuelan is ahead. So the move's not yet been made. Or did Alonso already pass Maldonado, and for whatever reason Alonso made a mistake and Maldonado got back ahead? Well, we'll soon find out. But anyway, here is Fernando Alonso taking 4th position, just about. Side by side through 130R. Who's going to be later on the brakes? It's Alonso around the outside. And now Hamilton is 8 seconds ahead of Ricciardo. That's a very comfortable gap. Di Grassi now in 3rd position, but he has got Alonso hot on his heels. Been a tremendous recovery drive from Alonso, but he should never have had to do it in the first place. Where's he going to make the move? I thought for a moment he was going to have a look into the hairpin, but nothing going of that. I think he'll power ahead going on this curved straight, going into the spoon curve. side by side, and that is third position for Fernando Alonso, just as Lewis Hamilton makes a pit stop. He'll certainly rejoin ahead of Alonso, because Alonso is due into the pits as well. Ricciardo retakes the lead for the moment, although the gap was 8 seconds, so I don't think Ricciardo is going to jump Hamilton in this second round of pit stops, unless for some dramatic reason. Oh, what on earth happened to Alonso? This is him during the pits. That's how they enter the pits on this circuit, because Di Grassi was in the pits as well. There he is. And Alonso into his pit box first. One of the first pit crews in this circuit, whereas Sean Corey Motors have one of the last. Out of the pits comes Alonso. Is Di Grassi going to beat him? No, is the simple answer to that one. 6.9 seconds was Alonso's stop, and Di Grassi's was quite a bit slower than that. So they rejoin 5th and 6th, but make that 3rd and 4th because more pit stops have occurred. We're looking at Raikkonen versus Perez. So pit stops haven't really worked out for Raikkonen. Either that or the FJR just hasn't had the speed. And coming out the final corner, we're on the last lap already. This is World Championship time for Lewis Hamilton. Cross the finish line to confirm that very statement. Hamilton is the champion, thanks to Rosberg's retirement, and by virtue of finishing ahead of Daniel Ricciardo, who finished that race in 2nd, ahead of Fernando Alonso, who recovered to 3rd. Di Grassi 4th, ahead of Pastor Maldonado in 5th. Kobayashi 6th, ahead of Vettel, and Senna completes the point scorers. And it was the fastest lap set by Fernando Alonso, just to confirm how much pace he had. And 2 key retirements, Nico Rosberg with an engine failure, and Roman Grosjean with a similar failure. Why I say Grosjean is because Fernando Alonso, with that 3rd position, has now got ahead of the Franco-Swiss driver in the championship. That'll be for 4th position. But there is confirmation of Lewis Hamilton winning the championship for Tornado. 30 points now ahead of Daniel Ricciardo, who's snuck ahead of Nico Rosberg for the moment. And still waiting for Tom Dillman to score points, so that every driver will have scored points, but Tom Dillman needs to prove himself. And with that 1-2, emphatically in the end, it has to be said for Tornado, they have won the Constructors' Championship. 56 points, the gap between themselves and Sean Connery Motors, an unassailable one for that matter. Willows now jump ahead of Fernando Alonso of FJR in the championship. 4 points is the gap between those two, and there's an outside chance of either team to sneak ahead of Sean Connery Motors if the next 2 races go to plan for those. The next of those races will be at the Road America circuit, the 2nd US race of the season. Looking forward to that one, that's one of my favourite circuits. So we'll see you then.